Welcome to Red Recaps. In today's video, we shall be looking at a very thrilling and interesting movie, The Zodiac, starring Jake Gyllenhaal. Stick to the end of this recap to get the full gist of what really happened in the movie. Now let's get started. The movie begins on July 4th, 1969, with the Zodiac Killer's second attack. After shooting Darlene Ferrin and Mike Mageau on a Vallejo lover's lane, the killer calls 911 and reports his actions. Mageau survives, but Ferrin succumbs to her injuries. The San Francisco Chronicle receives a letter written by the Zodiac 4 weeks later. There is an encrypted letter as well as a demand that the letter be published in the newspaper, or the Zodiac will kill again. In encrypted letters to the Vallejo Times and the San Francisco Examiner, similar demands were made. Avery, a Chronicle crime reporter, soon begins to investigate for the paper. The encrypted letter is noticed by Robert Graysmith, the Chronicle's political cartoonist. Eventually, a history teacher in Salinas, California, cracks the encryption. However, some untranslated letters remain, and Graysmith begins attempting to decipher them, which catches Avery's attention. Along with the extra symbols, Avery notices one that resembles a heart firearms sighting device. Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard are confronted and stabbed by the Zodiac Killer at Lake Berryessa in Napa County in September 1969. The attack kills Shepard, but Hartnell survives. Zodiac then writes the Chronicle a new letter about the most dangerous game of all. Robert recalls the line from The Most Dangerous Game, a film based on a book. Soon after, San Francisco taxi driver Paul Stein is shot and killed in the city's Presidio Heights district. Detectives Dave Toshi and Bill Armstrong of the San Francisco Police Department are assigned to the case, but the killer's actions, which they do not know at the time are those of the Zodiac, appear perplexing. Soon after, the Chronicle receives a new Zodiac letter, complete with a piece of the bloody shirt of the cab driver. The Zodiac also states in the letter that he intends to attack city school buses. Toshi and Armstrong will soon be coordinating with other detectives, including Vallejo's Jack Mullinax and Napa's Ken Narlo, to review the evidence on Zodiac. While the SFPD obtained a partial fingerprint from the taxicab crime scene, Narlo describes how a ranger accidentally destroyed the crime scene in Napa. They did, however, come across wing-walker boot prints on the ground, with the footwear available only with a military ID. Armstrong attempts to interview Mike Mageau, a survivor of the Zodiac's second murder, but Vallejo police inform him that he is no longer in town. Because much of the material evidence must be sent exclusively via postal mail, the various police departments are also having difficulty communicating with one another. Following that, Avery and Graysmith, as well as Toshi and Armstrong, question the Zodiac's motives in private conversations. The cab driver's is his first non-couple killing, leading the two groups of men to believe he's breaking his pattern. Soon after, the Zodiac, or someone claiming to be him, requests to speak on an early morning talk show with celebrity lawyer Melvin Belli. A man with a deep voice calling himself Sam calls in. Sam accepts Melvin's invitation to meet at a Daly City church. Melvin and the SFPD ran to the scene, but Sam was nowhere to be found, and it was quickly revealed that the caller was from a mental institution. Even Brian Hartnell, a survivor of the Zodiac's third killing, confirms that the voice is not that of the man he met at Lake Berryessa. Another letter arrives at the Chronicle soon after, taunting the cops and including instructions for making an explosive device. Following this, Avery and Graysmith have a discussion about their interest in the letters. Graysmith explains how his love of puzzles drew him to the challenge of deciphering the Zodiac's ciphers. He also describes several different codes he discovered in the letters, including one referred to as the alphabet of the Zodiac. The Zodiac writes a letter to Melvin Belli for Christmas in 1969, and continues to write letters to the Chronicle throughout the spring and summer of 1970. Taunting the police and claiming responsibility for a number of incidents. After Avery questions the Zodiac's veracity, the Chronicle decides to discontinue publication of the letters. Paul also tells Graysmith that the gun sight symbol on the letters appears to have been copied from the Zodiac brand of watch. Avery tells a number of unflattering stories about the Zodiac and is rewarded with a personal letter from the Zodiac, as well as a piece of the cab driver's bloody shirt. Paul tries to learn more about the Zodiac and meets with an unnamed source in Riverside, California. Avery believes he has discovered evidence of the Zodiac's first murder victim, which occurred prior to the 1969 shooting of Darlene Ferrin and Mike Mageau. Toshi and Armstrong are dispatched to Riverside to investigate. The evidence appears to be similar, but they ruled out an exact match to their killer. However, Paul Avery's stories sway the majority of the audience, infuriating Toshi. Avery's article quickly draws a slew of people to Toshi and the SFPD, many of whom claim to know the identity of the Zodiac. One of the interviews about a man named Arthur Leigh Allen appears to be the most promising. Toshi and Molinax then question Arthur, but find nothing concrete. They interview several members of Arthur's family who provide handwriting samples for analysis. However, a review of the letters by handwriting expert Sherwood Morrill reveals no connections. Arthur's family eventually informs Toshi and Armstrong that he has relocated to Santa Rosa. The Santa Rosa Police Department issues a warrant, and Toshi and Armstrong search Arthur's trailer. They discover several weapons and confront Arthur when he returns home. However, after obtaining a new handwriting sample and checking his prints, nothing of Arthur's matches any of the information on file for Zodiac, infuriating Toshi that his best lead had failed. Toshi and his wife go to see the film Dirty Harry to unwind. Toshi meets Graysmith in the lobby after it concludes. Robert assures Toshi that he will catch the Zodiac, but Toshi appears skeptical. 1975 is 4 years later. Graysmith has remarried and begun a family since that time. Meanwhile, Paul Avery's sanity has taken a hit, as he has left the Chronicle to work for the Sacramento Bee. Dave Toshi is taken aback when his partner, Bill Armstrong, informs him that he is leaving Homicide and joining the Fraud Division. The Zodiac has remained silent during this time. When Graysmith's wife, Melanie, mentions all the Zodiac memorabilia he's amassed over the years, Robert pays Paul a visit and expresses his desire to write a book about the Zodiac. Robert's expectations are dashed when Paul informs him that he no longer has any information on the killer. Next, Robert asks Dave Toshi a question. Toshi advises Robert to contact Ken Narlow in Napa, even though he swears he can't help. Robert is given access by Narlow to examine the Napa police's evidence in the case of Darlene Ferrin and Mike Mageau. The Zodiac might have been one of Darlene's admirers, Robert goes on to say to Toshi, noting that she appeared to have a large following. Graysmith was more convinced that the murderer knew Darlene because of strange phone calls to several of her relatives that night that had heavy breathing on the line. Robert insists that he must locate Darlene's sister, but Toshi also suggests that he speak with Melvin Belli. When Robert visits the lawyer, he has an unusual conversation with one of his housekeepers, during which she reveals that the Zodiac spoke to her. The Zodiac instructed the housekeeper that Mr. Belli was out of the house and that he had to kill that day because it was his birthday. With the help of this evidence, Robert is able to focus on the dates of December 18th through December 20th. Toshi advises him to check the Department of Justice for information, but he receives little assistance. Soon after, Bob receives a call from a man claiming that the Zodiac is actually Rick Marshall, and that Bob Vaughn has film canisters containing proof that Rick is the Zodiac. Sherwood Morrill visits Robert to discuss samples of handwriting and fingerprints. During the conversation, Sherwood describes how Wallace Penny told him Rick Marshall was the Zodiac, shocking Robert by revealing that the same person who called Robert also spoke to Sherwood. When the SFPD receives its first Zodiac letter in 4 years, Toshi is summoned back there. Toshi, however, is dismissed from the Homicide Division as a result of the accusations that he forged the letter. Toshi tries to engage Robert in conversation, but Dave won't discuss Rick Marshall. After that, Robert visits Napa and talks to Ken Narlow. Narlow describes how he spoke with Rick Marshall, but was unable to obtain any samples of his handwriting or fingerprints. Robert phones Morrill in an effort to locate Marshall and obtain Wallace Penny's contact information. Wallace gives Robert one of the movie theater poster designs he claims Rick created. Morrill reviews it and notes a few minor similarities to Zodiac, but wants more details to fully assess it. The matter has now taken over Robert's life. His wife takes the kids and flees after he loses his position at the Chronicle out of concern that the Zodiac may target their family. Robert's phone number has also been called by someone, then hangs up after exhaling heavily. In addition to asking Bob Vaughn for assistance, Robert is still attempting to locate Darlene Ferrin's sister, Linda. When Robert describes the posters they are looking through for proof, Bob asserts that he drew all the posters, not Rick Marshall, even though Vaughn knew Rick Marshall as a theater projectionist in the distant past. Robert quickly departs the area, unsure of his current thoughts. Soon after, Robert visits Linda, who is in prison and is the sister of Darlene. Darlene is questioned by Robert about a painting party he heard about where a man was making her uneasy. Robert is certain that this was Rick Marshall, but Linda disputes that there was a Rick Marshall. Lee was the name of the person. Robert runs to Toshi's house in the middle of the night to inform him that he believes this is Arthur Leigh Allen, and the former homicide detective eventually agrees to meet with him. Robert identifies several factors that would connect Arthur to the Zodiac, while the two are in a restaurant, but Toshi insists that all he has is circumstantial proof. Since Arthur lived close to Darlene's place of business, some people even believe that the Zodiac was someone she may have known. Toshi urges Robert to complete his work on the Zodiac, even though he claims he cannot back up anything Robert has said. The scene then flashes back to December 1983. Robert enters a hardware store in Vallejo and runs into Arthur Leigh Allen. Graysmith leaves the store without exchanging any remarks. Mike Mageau meets with the police in 1991, 8 years later, and is shown many mug photographs. When asked which of the men had the greatest chance of being the Zodiac, he selects Arthur Leigh Allen. Wow, this movie is so interesting and unique. If you like this video or movie, leave a comment down below. If you like this mind-twisting movie, check out our links down below to watch it. Be sure to subscribe to Red Recaps and hit the notification bell to be notified of future videos. Thanks for watching Red Recaps. See you in the next video.